another Race Weekend Canada's F1 show. I'm Dames, joined by team manager for Pro Racing Ontario, Darryl Timmers, and we're doing the Saudi Arabian post-Grand Prix analysis. We have overwhelmed, underwhelmed, and surprised. DT, what we got?
So, the overwhelming, obviously it's got to be Max Drive to P2, but I'm also happy about Checo.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that Checo got that win, that Red Bull didn't say slow down and let Max buy for the championship, because if that happened, that would have been an uproar. But yes, Red Bull, honestly, that drive from Max was great.
Okay, let me ask you this, right? How close do you think they were to doing that?
Oh, they probably already had the combo. then probably Sergio was just like, probably the strategists were having the combo, and they were like, you know what, if he gets within DRS, we'll let him go.
He just couldn't close the gap.
He just couldn't close the gap.
So Sergio managed it well. He did manage it well.
I think that's what it was. As soon as they would have said, don't put up a fight to Max, if Sergio was in a fight with Max, which I would have said, hey, gloves are off, boys, have a race. You're still battling for a championship with both of you. And it's not like anyone else is close to him after 2 races still.
No.
They're already,
after 2 laps, there was nobody close to him.
The two of them are already more than a race up on the whole field. So
yeah.
It's and they're 2 races in. Like, come on now.
And Max qualified P50.
Yeah, so that was a hell of a
There's no hope for anybody on the ground.
that I don't know. The Red Bull's so fast. It's overwhelming how fast that car is.
There it is. That's why it's overwhelmed. All right, so let's do underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed. I gotta go with the McLarens. Like, this is like, Piastri drove great. He got to to almost top 10. No, he got to a top 10.
They had some hard luck.
Yeah.
No, he didn't get to the top 10.
He almost did.
He had hard luck. He qualified P8.
B8, yeah.
And then first lap they had to come in and change the win, which really kind of screwed his ways. I was actually thinking my overwhelmed was Piastri. Look, he finished down at the bottom of the order, but way more pace than Lando Norris all weekend.
Yeah. And Lando made a mistake in quali. Like, you don't see that much from Lando.
So, underwhelming and overwhelming for Oscar at the same time, but definitely I agree with you. I think the McLaren thing, I mean, we've discussed it on a previous episode. The McLaren thing is just, it's bad.
Yeah.
And I know they're waiting for upgrades around Baku, but guess what? So are the other 9 teams on the grid. And so this is kind of what it is.
If you look at the constructors right now, it's a surprise that Alfa and McLaren are the bottom 2 teams.
AlphaTauri,
AlphaTauri and McLaren are the bottom 2 teams with no points.
So let's talk about this right now, because AlphaTauri has been a letdown since Toro Rosso switch.
Yeah. We
saw Gasly win a race in a Toro Rosso.
Yeah.
And then since then...
He won in the AlphaTauri in Monza? What was it, AlphaTauri?
Was it an Alpha or a Toro Rosso?
That was an Alpha. That was the first year of Alpha.
Okay, so it was the Toro Rosso was in Brazil then?
Brazil, yeah.
Okay, where he beat Lewis. Okay, either way.
Yeah, that was the last year that when the Honda dragged Lewis to the end.
That's right. Like, yeah. Okay, so I say all this to say
it's
true. Down in the dumps. Yes, first off, it's Red Bull's feeder team. Yeah. They haven't fed anybody to Red Bull since.
No, since Max
Gasly, but then they demoted him. Right. Not only that,
Albon demoted him.
Albon, yeah. Not only that, the team principal has lost faith in his engineers. Yeah. And he said it.
Straight up.
Publicly.
Yeah.
And while a part of me kind of likes that, I've been around long enough to know that's not how you create team spirit. I mean, you're a manager for a racing team.
Yeah.
How do you go about this? You got your data guy, and he's telling you one thing. And it's like, like, how do you do this?
You got to do positive reinforcement, I guess you can say. It's, there's, some of the decisions aren't the greatest when they're under the tent, but you gotta what we say in one of the manufacturers I work with, we do debriefs at the end of every day, and we call it a shit sandwich.
Nice.
So you got 2 great things with the buns, and then there's something in the middle that's a shit sandwich.
So you start with something great,
you
hit them where it hurts, and then you finish up with, hey, you're a great guy.
Yeah. But just let you know, good job.
No, but that's real. But my man just ate the shit. He was serving shit.
Yeah,
he's just shit.
I don't understand how these team principals go about doing all of this, there is frustrating times. You see it with Gunther, you see it with all the team managers. Total smashing stuff off the tables and stuff.
Right.
You see it.
But it's never at the expense of the team.
No, but you also look at it.
Well,
you don't know what they say behind closed doors,
that's
right?
true,
It's
too.
only Gunther that says it to the public all the time. It's a matter. This, Alpha's team principal said it to the media.
Yeah.
But you don't know what they say behind closed doors. You
That's
don't
a
know if Toto says you guys are shit behind closed doors.
Right.
You don't know if he says, you guys are great behind closed doors. We don't know what Christian Horner does behind closed doors except wine. But
Is that in front of closed doors? But I guess that's the thing. I guess that's what really is kind of the speaking point about all of this is to take it to the media when the team is down. And I always said it, they're last place.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be last place.
No.
By right, they should be somewhere around maybe 6, 7, 5 on a great,
But not last.
But last, like as a feeder team to the big team, that's not good. And then to generate camaraderie amongst, nobody's going to work for you like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I totally agree. So
That's an underwhelming point.
Yeah,
So
so
surprise.
The surprise was the pace of the Alpines in qualifying, I think. Those
Okay.
guys surprised the heck out of me.
It's because we were after the first race.
Yeah.
We were like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, where did these guys
Because
go?
these guys were walking around in testing, walking around FP1, FP2, FP3,
Yeah.
like they had something for anybody, and then they didn't even make it into the Q3.
No.
That was in Bahrain, right?
Yeah.
So then when they showed up at this circuit, they're like, "Okay, we got something to work with here, Alpine. All right." So that was the surprise for you. Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
Yeah, I just thought that, like you said, the testing would look so well. The first race, they looked horrible. They didn't seem in sync. They didn't seem like the cars were on pace. They were struggling to pass anyone, and they were just getting past. Like Gasly kind of had a good charge from the back, but he always does.
Yeah, he's experienced it.
Yeah, Gasly constantly drives from the back, so it wasn't anything that I was like surprised about. But the fact that they were in the top 5, top 6 constantly through FP1, FP2, FP3 qualifying and all that stuff, it just showed that maybe they do have a fast car. Maybe they do. They just couldn't put it together on a race weekend, right? And you look at this, they were one of the teams that got kind of screwed by that full course yellow. So. Well, that full course is safety car.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm crossing IndyCar and
it's all
F1
good.
there.
It's all good.
But the safety car and I think they had a good chance of battling the Mercedes if they didn't get screwed by that safety car as well. So I think it kind of surprised me that they all weekend showed great pace, which going into the next round, you never know what they can do.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because, as mentioned, going into the next round with the way. With things the way they are, I should say.
Yeah.
We have a clear P1 in Red Bull. I think WC and the Constructors' Championship, nobody's going to get there. Aston Martin, Stroll taking that L this weekend early, that kind of shot them in the foot.
Yeah.
But I would say at the present time, they're P2 in the Constructors. It's Stroll just, once I want to see Stroll. I was so let down because I wanted to see him on the podium. I think it was in the cards for him, maybe a P4. But with the wrists and the toe and all of that, he's not 100%. But I think once he gets to 100%, we're looking at solid 3-4 Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Depending on strategy and that, because Stroll
They'll
can
come
win.
away with some wins this
Right.
year. Stroll has a chance to win this year.
Yeah, 100%. So I think, and I say all that to say, anywhere from P3 downward is wide open.
Yeah.
We've discussed how underwhelming the Ferrari package is. Mercedes is clearly trying to sort something out, but if Alpine can put together some great qualifying sessions, mainly Ocon because he's the most experienced in the car, and then they can get the race pace sorted out, and hopefully they've done something with the reliability this year.
Yep.
They really are in the running for P3 in that constructors.
Yep. I totally agree. And they have two quality drivers that kind of they've been racing together since they were kids. They're friends, and everyone thinks they hate each other, but they don't.
Yeah.
They kind of squash that. So I think in the end they have a really good package. They have two good drivers that can perform. Gasly constantly drives from the back. Ocon is always finishing.
He's always mixing it up in points
and
for sure,
going for it. So they have two non-slouch drivers, I guess you can call it, and I think at this point they have the car that they can beat the Aston Martin, and they can beat the Mercedes, and they can beat the Ferrari. So again, we don't really know where that 3rd through 10th is going to happen, right? And you saw it in qualifying. The Red Bulls were up there after Max broke, but when Max wasn't there, the top 5, 6 cars were all different manufacturers at that point.
Yeah.
It was the Red Bull obviously up front, but then it was just scattered of different manufacturers after that point, and I kind of love it. I kind of love.
No, that part about it is great. Like, there's always a team that just runs away from everybody else. But like when we're breaking away from the monotony of Formula One, we're going, oh yeah, Red Bull finishes 1, Mercedes finishes 2, or Mercedes finishes 1, Red Bull finishes 2. Like when we start to talk about Aston getting up in the mix, maybe even Alpine getting a podium, snagging a podium here and there, depending on race and circumstances.
Maybe even a win. You never know.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that is great for the sport. But yeah, I think for them, they have to be looking at this season, especially with what happened to McLaren last year with all of that. Like they have to be, kind of salivating out of the mouth, be like, yo, listen, we could really take it to some of these big teams if we really dial this thing in. And the key thing about their driver pairing as well is if this season goes well for them, they're young guys.
Yeah.
Like
they can grow with the team. Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. Overwhelmed, underwhelmed, surprise. Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in the books. Race 2 in the books. Red Bull running away with things. We'll see what happens in terms of toxicity between Checo and Max Verstappen. I think we're getting an early look at what the rest of the season is going to look like in terms of who's fighting for wins and all of that kind of stuff. But we appreciate you guys checking it out. This has been a quick surmise. There are more videos in regards to other things that happened this weekend and in the first race. There's back catalog as well. So be sure to check that out. Like, share, subscribe. We appreciate you. For Darryl Timmers, it is Dames. I'm saying farewell. It's been another Race Weekend, Canada's F1 show.